right. We got a couple of things today, nothing super huge. The first one I'll talk about fell under the larcenies, but that was somebody stole an ATM from a motel that was in the 1000 block of South Lyons Avenue. It was an employee that noticed it was missing, went back and then reviewed some surveillance video and then found there's images of the person that stole it, and that happened about 1 a.m. They called us about 1:30. So no arrests on that at this point, but we've got some good information to follow up on, and this one they just basically took the whole ATM and left after that. So
is there surveillance video of that?
There is surveillance video, yep, and so we'll work on getting that, and then like I said, the officers that were out there were able to watch it, and so we've got some good information to follow up on, but we're still working on that case.
Do people usually typically steal ATMs like that?
No. Stealing ATMs is fairly rare. We've seen it before in the past. It happens from time to time, but you know, it's not one of those things that happens very often.
You know, they took it like with a car or something, or they just like wheeled it out like on a...
Let me see how it said. Yeah, they had it on some type of cart. Basically, they loaded it up onto that and then put it in a vehicle and drove away.
Was it just one person or was it multiple people?
Two people.
Two people?
Yep.
Do they know, was it a guest at the hotel?
That I don't. We're still working on trying to figure out who the suspects are. So I guess
Is there any vehicle description?
we've got that stuff. I'm going to hang on to that for now, just for investigative reasons. But yeah, they were able to get a description, and I think they were able to possibly get a license plate as well. So, like I said, there's some good information to follow up on. So we're hoping to be able to have something, but we just got to wait for the investigation to go.
That was 1000 Lyons?
Yeah, 1000 block of South Lyons Avenue. It happened about 1 a.m. this morning, yep. And they called us about 1:30 to report it. But the other one that I was going to talk about is under the narcotics, and it happened, let me get this pulled up, yesterday morning. It was around 8:30. It actually began near 25th Street in Minnesota. Somebody had saw a guy that was slumped behind the wheel of a car. When the officer got there, the man woke up and took off at a high rate of speed. He ended up crashing near 25th Street and Main Avenue. Actually got stuck on a snowbank and climbed out the window and then took off running. He was caught nearby, and then inside the car they found some marijuana and meth, no big quantities. He was arrested for those drug charges, reckless driving, and then a whole bunch of traffic violations as well. Do you want his name?
Yeah.
Excuse me. His last name is Schmidt Heinrichs, SCHMIDT HINRICHS. First is Jacob, JACOB. Middle is Dean, DEAN, and he's 25, from Sioux Falls.
And where did he end up at?
He ended up at 25th Street and Main Avenue.
Started at 25th.
25th in Minnesota, yeah. It was, yeah, the 1600, the gas station, the 1600 block of South Minnesota, and that's where he was. He ended up going on Minnesota, turned on 25th Street. He almost hit a tree, almost hit some parked cars. He was driving at a pretty high rate of speed before he crashed into the snowbank.
Do you have like an estimate on how fast he was going?
No, I don't. Excuse me. It just says in the report just at a high rate of speed.
Under the influence?
I guess I don't know if he was or not. It doesn't say anything in here about if he was under the influence of anything or not. And that's pretty much it. The assault, that was involves juveniles. The burglary, that was somebody that kicked open an apartment door. They ended up getting arrested for unlawful occupancy. Nothing was taken from there. The disorderly conducts, we had a few disturbing the peace calls, a few involved juveniles, some other trespassings. The embezzlement, that was a till that was short. No arrests on that one. The family offenses, both of those are reports. The frauds, some shopliftings, ID thefts, and credit cards in there. The other larcenies, not really much out of there. There was a few shopliftings. We had a few unlocked cars. We had a couple more car windows that were broken and purses taken, but they weren't outside of fitness centers or anything like that.
You don't believe they're connected?
No, I don't think these, I think they were outside of schools. They had some events going on, so I don't think they'd be connected with the other stuff. We did have a handgun that was stolen from a car sometime over the last week. The owner said he always locks the car, but there was no damage done to the vehicle. And he hadn't seen the gun for about a week and realized it was, or last time he saw it was about a week ago, so he's not exactly sure when it was taken. The other narcotics, some small amounts of marijuana and meth. Prostitution, just a report on that one. Sex offenses were sex offenders didn't change their address. The simple assaults were some more domestics, nothing suspicious from the unattended death. And the vandalisms, we had a car that was damaged, a fence that was damaged, and I don't remember what that last one was. Well, it was somebody discharged a fire extinguisher. That's what that was. That's it.
Anything on that one girl yesterday that got shot?
No updates on that shooting yet. Yeah, I mean, really, a lot of that is going to depend on her, is if she's going to start cooperating and provide more information. So we'll have to wait and see.
Any additional information? There was like a weapons violation on North Spring Avenue yesterday.
Yeah, that was our burglary. That call started off as somebody said there were some shots that were fired. There wasn't any weapons that were involved. None of the victims in the apartment said anything about any weapons, so we're not really sure why somebody reported as shots being fired, but there wasn't any. Anything else?
Still kind of keeping that message of locking cars.
That's kind of an ongoing message, yeah. You know, it's kind of tough. I mean, we preach about that all the time, to lock your cars, lock your cars. I think people, either they don't think it'll happen to them, or that's probably the big thing there, that they don't think anything will happen to them. It's just a habit. But we just have to get people to change their habits, make sure they're locking the cars, make sure that it's locked. Probably more important is not to leave valuables in the car. You know, if I had to choose one or the other, I'd say lock your cars first, and if you can remember to lock your cars, then make sure your valuables are either out of the car or out of plain sight. We have large numbers of thefts that happen from unlocked cars, and it's just too easy for anybody to walk along, check a handle. If it's open, they take anything of value. Sometimes it's change, it might be sunglasses, it might be a car charger. I mean, there's just completely random things. So it doesn't always have to be a purse or a wallet. If there's something in it and your car's unlocked, if somebody finds it, they're going to take whatever they want from inside of it. And those crimes are incredibly difficult to solve because there's no connection between the victim and the suspect. So, lock your cars. That's the best that I could tell people. If you are locking your cars, great job. Keep at it. If you're not, I guess I just strongly encourage people to lock their cars.
You can say my next question would be, your success rate is kind of low, again, to solve some of those crimes.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of depends on what's taken. And I mean, if you have something like sunglasses, there's almost no way to track that down. If there's some other property and maybe somebody's trying to sell it or they pawn it, there's ways that we might be able to track that back to at least somebody who was in possession of that stolen property or potentially broke into that car. If they're using credit cards, depends on where they're using them. That's probably a little bit of a greater chance that we might be able to catch somebody doing that. But overall, I'll say finding the suspects and then leading to successful prosecution is probably fairly low, which is why we want people to lock their cars. If we can prevent this crime from happening in the first place, then we don't have to worry about that low chance of finding the suspect. Anything else? All right, thanks.